Welcome, Smutters, to Sibsreadsmut podcast. I'm Helen.
I'm Ned.
Get your beer bongs and pom-poms ready, because it's smut time.
Tits up, bitches.
Tits up. For those just tuning in, this is the podcast where we read, rate, review, and tell jokes, all while discussing our favorite dirty romance books. If you're liking our bullshit, go on and smash that like, rate, subscribe button. Every little bit helps. If you have any book suggestions and or questions, hit us up on the socials at Sibsreadsmut on Instagram and the TikToks, and email us at sibsreadsmut@gmail.com. .gov.
I don't think that's a good thing anymore.
It's probably a department of the government at this point.
Could you imagine?
It's part of the Library of Congress.
Library of Congress has been deleted, replaced by the Sibsreadsmut podcast.
Yeah. And their library of 35 books or whatever we've done so far.
That's all we need, honestly.
Yeah.
We can raise our children on this catalog. I think that's
And Roadhouse.
America's future.
Yeah. On today's podcast, we will be discussing The Deal by Elle Kennedy. As I muddle my way through that sentence.
We will be discussing.
Discussing. Spoiler alert, we will be talking about these books in full, beginnings, endings, twists, all the sexual positions are all fair game.
Okay.
If you haven't read the book, hit pause and go read this one. I like this one a lot. I don't know, Helen, if you agree, but
Always. Yeah.
Elle Kennedy is one of our favorites. Mm-hmm. Off we go. Helen, you have a brief summary of the book, I believe.
I do believe I do.
I do believe.
I do believe I do. This is a few bullet points. You're going to love it. Ready? Here we go. Okay. Hannah is a college student who sings like an angel, but has trauma and a broken orgasm mechanism, just like Ned's can of Truly. Garrett is a star hockey player who bones a lot, but is failing a class, and he's failing a class that he needs to continue to get on the ice.
To continue to play hockey.
But is failing a class he needs to continue to get on the ice. Okay. Their paths collide, literally, with their dirty parts when Hannah agrees to tutor Garrett in exchange for him pretending to date her, because nothing says emotional stability like lying publicly. Hannah wants to make another boy jealous, but ends up fixing her busted vagine with Garrett's huge man monster. Hockey, trauma, and the arts. This book has a little something for everyone. Hockey, trauma, and the arts. I feel like we should be asking for donations.
on this episode of PBS, special.
The arts.
The arts.
The arts.
This book had a lot, as with most of Elle Kennedy's books, had a lot more heart and depth to it than I thought I was going to.
A lot of backstory for each of them.
A lot of old trauma. Do you think that this was trauma porn? Just to kick this off right off the bat.
Right off the bat, and we should give our audience a warning. I don't know, trigger, spoiler. So the female main character was raped in high school, and there is a lot of issues that stem from that. I do think Elle handled it really well. It didn't feel like, I don't know if the story needed these pieces. So Hannah was raped in high school, and then there's a lot that came from that. And then Garrett, his dad is a hockey player, but was
ex-hockey player, yeah.
Like a retired hockey player, and was there was domestic violence at home. So the dad beat up Garrett's mom, and then also Garrett for a little bit until Garrett got big enough. And now, so the dad holds over him like a lot of emotional abuse. So he holds things over him to make sure that he plays hockey and is successful. Things like money and, you can't do this without me. So there's just very hard family dynamics as both characters' backstories. I do think that Elle Kennedy handled it really well. I really liked specifically how she wrote about Garrett finding out about Hannah's rape, and then like being really sensitive to their sexual encounters because of it. Like Garrett went out of his way to make sure that like he was making Hannah comfortable. I don't know.
And feel, and feel protected and taken care of and very well. And he did he did research. Way. Yeah, yes. No, he did research on how to deal with trauma victims and how to approach reintegrating them into the their own sexuality and stuff like that. Yeah. As a fucking college junior, it's like
could you imagine? No,
that was other than dealing with these big real life issues, them being college students was like okay. That was a little crazy. I mean, her more so, less so than him. Him doing all this research and doing whatever else. She to me was a college student. He acted like a grown fucking adult in a lot of ways. And
I agree with that.
Even when she was like giving him the runaround at the end of the book, he was still like, other than his mandate of like nobody on campus can date her, other than that, he still kept his head, kept calm, was very grown up about the whole situation, and that was a little odd, but
and she handled it the way that like a
college student would,
immature college student would. She took the the low point, which we'll get to, I'm sure, when we tell the whole story. But basically, she took it and she didn't know how to handle it. So she just like broke up with him in the low point, which we'll explain again. But then was just like ran away. It was like, I'm going to go home and not talk to him and avoid, like very avoidant of the whole thing. But
the stupid thing about this whole thing is Elle Kennedy, especially in Bad Girl Reputation, which we read last season. The thing is, she writes these characters with very good communication skills. And right up until the end, these two had great communication until she decided to just not talk to him about the problems she was having and cut him off completely, which I was like, why? Why? Like in this situation, one conversation could have figured this whole fucking low point out. But
yes.
That being said, let's start a little bit from the beginning. I know you've done some research on this book. Do you want to give any backstory to what you have actually, other than just being the talent this week and showing up with no research or anything, you actually put some notes on the list.
You're welcome. I'm back, baby, just for today. No promises on anything else. Yes, I looked into this book is part of the off-campus universe. And so Briar University is a college near Boston, I think outside in Maryland somewhere. And there's, I think, 5 books in this series. So the off-campus universe, which is on Briar U. And then there's the second series, Campus Diaries, I think, which we've also read. And that features the children of these characters, which is kind of baffling to me. So this book came out in 2015, and I don't understand how within 10 years she's now just like jettisoned these characters into like full on adulthood, and she's already like, then their kids are now in college. I don't know.
It's not taking place on a real timeline. It's not.
It can't. Clearly, it can't take, because I'm really having a hard time like suspending my belief of like, okay, these people were in college in 2015, and now suddenly it's 11 years later, and they have 20-year-old kids. I'm like, wait.
Briar, the Campus Diaries, the Graham effect. We were texting about this before, a couple days ago, and I was telling you that I thought that Gigi Graham was his sister, and then I quickly realized while reading this book that he does not have a sister. That this was actually his daughter, and the Campus Diaries series is about their children. The Briar U is not a generation, but it's a class before the Campus Diaries. So the off-campus series, this series, Logan and all these people graduate, and they are in the major leagues playing hockey when the Campus Diaries books kick off, and there are 3 of those so far that we've read. I've read all of those. I realize I have not read this. I realize I've not read this off-campus series. This
Yeah.
was one of the series that I missed of hers, and I'll probably get to the rest of them. I've already
I was gonna
downloaded
say,
the second book, but
you do love you love a series, and you love an Elle Kennedy. So
absolutely.
okay, so this is that series. This is also becoming a TV show, which I knew about going into this book because when I was like seeking out the Heated Rivalry show, like whatever, a couple months ago when we were reading that, and this was the commercial, the commercial for, I think it's on Prime. I should know that. Yeah, streaming on Prime Video. I think it drops May 13th, so soon. Whenever this comes out, it'll probably be right around then. But so it's on Prime Video. But when I was looking for the Heated Rivalry, this was the commercial that kept playing, was the ads for this, and I was like, that's no. So I'm excited. The people in the show aren't necessarily like what I would have pictured or what I had pictured in my head, but that's okay. Go off.
Is the alternative cover watch, for all those smutters at home?
Yeah.
Is the cover the actual people from the show? Or is that?
I don't think so. I think there's all the cartoony ones where they're like.
No, there's a picture of the real one where it says now it's turned into a TV show. Are the people on that cover the actual people from the show? You're the one that's seen the commercial. I haven't seen the commercial.
I'll double check, but yes, I believe so. That is my understanding. Anyway, so it's coming out soon. I'm really excited to read it. And then they said, so there's 5 books in this off-campus series, and it's going to be like Bridgerton style of like each book will get a season of this. And they've already renewed it for season 2, even though they haven't put season 1 out yet. So I guess they're assuming it's going to be really good. And this was a nominee on Goodreads for favorite romance in 2015. I've been on Goodreads that long. You have not.
And this is another one that has multiple covers on there. We'll show them all on the screen at some point here. But there's the sexy college co-ed, which awesome. There's the cartoony one, which I always love, and then there's the TV show one, which is the recreation of the cartoony one with real people. And that one's fine, too.
I don't see that one yet. It's not on Goodreads, at least. Oh, no, yeah, I see them. Yes, those are the real people.
This is another, sitch where we listened to it. We actually bought it on Audible because it was on cheap. And this series, and a lot of Elle Kennedy's series, which is very annoying, are only available on Audible. They're Audible-only audiobooks.
They're not in the library.
You can't get them from the library or Hoopla or Spotify, which good for you getting that bag, girl. But not great for us when we want to get more people to listen to these things.
Do authors really not make money when their books are at the library?
No, they do because
they made money because the more demand there is the library, then the libraries have to buy copies of the books, and I think
correct.
It's like more expensive.
Even ebooks,
they get charged like full price.
Even digitally, the libraries, the libraries have to have as many copies as they're loaning out. It's it's not indefinite.
Yeah.
So if there's more demand, they have to buy more copies. So yeah, I mean the authors do get paid, I believe, in that regard. How much they get paid what percentage they get is up in the air. But this, what did you think of the voice artists in this one? It was Christian Fox and Lorelei Avalon. I thought they did a great job, even at double speed. I Per my boss at the office, I did slow it down and listen to like 5 or 10 minutes at regular speed of both their voices, which I realize I can't do it. I can't listen at one time speed anymore. It just
I don't know how
talking
people read
like this.
That. How do they? So when they're actually in the booth, because I think I'm sure know somebody who's done voice work before. Like, do they just speak that slowly? I can't even fathom how they would record that slowly.
I think we are just, our ears are so attuned to double time speed that I don't think we realize. Like I listened to the Obama book at almost 3 times speed because he speaks so slowly in the first place that double time sounded like it was so slowly. That was crazy. But this book was. Getting back to the book we're actually reading this week, the timeline had me a little confused at first because it ended up being like the whole first 50% of the book was over the course of like a week and a half, and then it fast forwarded through Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then like almost to the end of the school year, which. It had me very, very confused at first because I felt like the timeline was off, but between the time where he takes his makeup test, which was probably about halfway through the book, and him failing the test at the very beginning, it's a week and a half maybe, and then. Yeah. Then it speeds up and it just jumps, in time by months, by months and months and months. Did you find that confusing at all either? Did that even affect you?
I understand how time works. It was pretty clear to me. Yeah. No, I had no issues.
You're full of shit.
No, you know what? Time actually makes a lot of sense. Your days, there's 24
Time is a flat circle, Helen.
I recently, did I tell you this when we were at that golf tournament a couple weeks ago? We were supposed to meet my cousin Dave at 11 a.m. and I had already, so this is just showing off how well I know time. Time is like something I'm very good at. And so there's no phones in this tournament that we went to. And so you have to just make a meeting place. It's like the 90s. Like you have to make with no beepers. Like you have to make a meeting place, be there on time. I wore my normal watch, like with the hands, and it wasn't even digital. And so I had already gone to fly the night before, and my license is still expired 6 months ago. I haven't renewed it yet. Oops. But good thing I figured out before I got to the airport. And then we landed and I forgot my purse at our friend's house and we had to turn around and drive 2 hours back to get it. And then the next day we're meeting my cousin David at this tournament and he's like 11 a.m. at this spot. I'm like, I'm on it. So I've got my watch. It's morning, we're getting our coffee, and I'm like, oh crap, my watch is still on Central Time. Let me just forward it to Eastern. So I put it forward an hour, very responsible.
And you realize you're late by an hour.
So we go, and I'm like, okay, it's 11 o'clock according to my watch. I am very good at time. And we're standing there, we're waiting. We're not just waiting for my cousin, we're also waiting for our friends that we went with, and we just can't find, nobody's there. We're like, God, everybody's so bad at time. And then my husband turns to this guy next to us. Excuse me, sir, what time is it? He's like, it's 12 noon. We were supposed to be there at 11. And I'm like, it's 11 on my watch. I never changed my watch from the time change, whatever, like 6 weeks ago. So my watch was 2 hours behind. And I changed it essentially just forward an hour to Central Time. So I was a full hour behind. We lost our friends for 6 hours because we could never find them. Dave literally texted my phone that I didn't have. He was like, well, I tried. We'll try again tomorrow. I was like, okay, great, thanks. So so I'm very good at time.
Yeah, obviously. Sounds like it.
Very good at time. I did not have trouble with the timeline of this book. To your point,
you may not have had trouble with the time, but you did text me at one point going, didn't we read this book already?
For the record, so
the plotline was very similar to Rebecca
Very
Genchak.
similar to Tutoring the Player. So essentially the whole start of the book is there's this class at Briar and the people are in it. I don't even know. It's a philosophy class or something. And it's very hard. This new teacher is like trying to be really tough. So Hannah gets an A out of like everybody in the class. There's only like three people that do well on it. And so Garrett needs this grade to keep his grades up so he can play hockey. So Hannah, her crush, is in this class. And so
Justin, she's super wet for Justin at this point, a football player.
She is like sliding off of her chair because she is just excited for this guy, Justin, who's a football
Slippery
player.
bearded clam. Yep.
But I was also reading that he was like I thought that I read that he was in a rock band. He's not. He plays football, and she's like not typically into jocks, yada yada. She sings. She's in the arts. She's an artsy fartsy kind of kid, and anyway, so she is like all eyes for Justin, and then Garrett is like walking out of class and sees that she got a really good grade, and immediately is like, "Hi, I'm Garrett. Will you tutor me?"
And she's like, "I know who you are. You're fucking one of the most famous guys on campus."
Yeah, like I have no interest. No, I don't like I don't like athletes.
Jocks.
Like leave me alone. And
she not only doesn't like jocks, she doesn't like the popular crowd at all. She's a very like wallflowery type person, but from her past trauma. And my note here goes, she hates the popular crowd, including Garrett, who fucks. Because the whole thing is like he's just a ladies' man, like walking around campus, just blowing loads in girls. Oh
my God. He is a responsible hockey player. He wraps it up. He takes his loads home with him, okay?
Puts them in his satchel.
He is not leaving them in these girls. He puts them in their little stack, and he takes it home and disposes of it properly. Anyway, so Garrett's like, "Hey, Hannah, I see you got a good grade. I really need you to tutor me." She says no. He pursues her, and he's like, "I really need this. Please help, please help." So I don't know how he wears her down. I don't remember this part, but he does.
He bothers her at work. He goes over to her house and tries to get her to her dorm room and tries to get her on board, and he's wooing her. He's wooing her with this aw shucks dimply smile, and eventually they're at a party together. He's trying to wear her down again, and she realizes that just the 2 seconds of them talking at a party, people are starting to notice who she is and whatever else. And he's like, "Listen, you're obviously super moist for this dude. Why don't you go out on a date with me to make him a little jealous, and then we can get up your street cred and get whatever else." But also, this is while the two main characters, Garrett and Hannah, don't get together for a while yet, there is a 3% is surprise. Here's my mouth. Get Garrett's post studying bang. He's just got a girl in lingerie just in his place, and it's a shorty. It's a little short scene, but he just gives it to her raw, not raw, excuse me, wrapped up, but hard, and post-coital conversation, he just goes, "Yeah, you know what? I'm not looking to hook up anymore. Like, with this girl, I forget what her name is, Chelsea or Kendall. Her name's Kendall. It's been his regular bang for a little bit here, but like not his steady girlfriend. And
he doesn't want a relationship, and he's vocal about that.
But she's bummed because he doesn't want a relationship, but he never lied to her about his intentions, and so they kind of just go, "C'est la vie. If you're ever ready to get a girlfriend, come at me, bro." Yeah. And he's like, "Whatever." And then Hannah, while this is going on, has this shitty singing partner for her duet for her, for her. There's a show. There's
Senior
there's a winter showcase and a spring showcase to get a scholarship that she desperately needs, and her partner is just a huge d-bag and is wooing the girl, the arranger of the music,
the songwriter,
to like get to force Hannah out of this duet, and it's just all kind of shady and shitty. That whole thing.
That was a rough explanation of Hannah's whole story.
That was very muddled.
Oof.
There is a note in here
too. Roller
too.
Skates and just tripped over a stick. That was a rough explanation.
Oh, I have 3 documented sniffing scenes in this book. By the way,
okay.
Yes, she huffs them like glue. She huffs them like glue, soap and lemony aftershave. The in
Do you
bed
wear
waking up.
aftershave?
No.
Who
I don't.
wears
I don't.
aftershave?
I don't shave. I have a full beard.
For the folks at home, Ned has a full bush on his face.
For those listening at home and not watching the YouTubes, the full face pubes. The in bed, the second one, in bed, waking up, Garrett smells cherries, and that's not her vagina. I think that's her shampoo. And then the third one was cherry lavender and something uniquely feminine. That's her vagina. But he finally convinces her to like start up, and they have a pretty comfortable relationship almost off the bat. Studying
through all of him like pestering her, she's like, she just is very, to your point earlier, like she's just very honest with him. She's like, I don't like you. I like this other guy. I don't, and so she is just very straightforward, overly straightforward with him,
and sassy as hell too,
sassy,
which I like a lot.
And so his whole shtick is hockey is his whole life. He doesn't want a girlfriend because he's focused on hockey. He needs to do well on school, and her whole thing is, focusing on the showcase and her school. And then, she is very aware of, she's had a couple of boyfriends since so the trauma is when she was 15, she was raped. She was a virgin at the time. It was was it her boyfriend?
No, it was just a random guy at a party that drugged her.
A guy, yes. So she was drugged at a party, and she really describes it to Garrett later in pretty graphic detail, which again, trigger warning for people going into this book. And so, but she talks about like being drugged and being conscious, but not being able to move her body or speak. And just, like really quite brutal. And so he drugs her, he rapes her. She was a virgin at the time. And then she, reports it. Like she gets home and her parents immediately know something's wrong. They take her to the hospital, they do a rape kit, and they go to court. Essentially, she presses charges with her parents' support, and then something happens where then
the guy that gets charged is the son of the mayor of the town.
There you go.
And all of his friends come in and say that Hannah did drugs of her own volition and lie in court. And pretty much ruin her good name, and then the mayor and that family sue her family for court fees and everything else, and pretty much run her parents into massive debt to pay off these bills. And her parents want to leave town and get out of town, but they can't because they're underwater on the house, and they need their jobs and everything else. But the town hates them, because everyone now thinks that she was lying, and and so she has gone home once in the last like 7 years or whatever, and they do all their have holidays on the East Coast and everything else on the East Coast at her aunt's house, and it was pretty tragic. And we find out in the same kind of parallel timeline his backstory, which we already talked about a little bit, which is after his mom died at age 12, 13, his dad started beating him until he got big enough around 17 or 18 to actually fight back. His dad kept, hurting him. And then as soon as he left for college, he never went back, and he needs the money from his dad until his trust kicks in at 21, which hits in the spring semester. In the spring semester, July, January 1st, when he's 21, he whatever. They go a lot into his background, and during them getting to know each other, they're watching Breaking Bad, and they're hanging out, and they're really kind of coming together. And as friends, I did not mind Wellesley, the Wellesley nickname. What did you? I thought that was a good one
because it was very cheeky. From when he was pursuing her to tutor him, he was immediately, he's like, "What's your full name?" Hannah Wells. Okay, Wellesley. And so he did it at first to start ribbing her, and then as they became friends through the tutoring sessions, it very much became a cute thing. I liked it. I think that's
Yeah.
that's a cute nickname.
Well, and we meet Garrett's like 4 roommates. There's like Logan, Dean, and a couple other guys that live in the house as well. And like Logan shows some interest in Hannah, and Garrett, even before they're even like really romantically involved, he's his hackles are going up. But he's already getting the below the belt jinglies for her, so it's like I don't know. But Logan's
But I
kind of a
think
man whore.
Logan showing interest in Hannah then made Garrett, I think, realize his feelings a little bit sooner. Otherwise, he might not have pulled the trigger. I don't know. That was
what really made him pull the trigger was she goes, "My vagina's broken. Can you teach it how to orgasm again?" With another partner. And he's like, "Okay," which I thought was a little disingenuous and a little kind of shitty. I
didn't love that because to that felt a little catless in terms of like. Just it was a very convenient like, okay, we're friends, and so I want to be able to. I haven't been able to orgasm with a man since ever, really, right? I mean, with a man, so she can do it by herself, but she can't get there with a guy, with a partner, and so she then is like, okay, well, I want to be able to orgasm with Justin, this other guy she has a crush on. And so she then, as a friend, proposes it, or like tells Garrett, like, I need to learn how to orgasm.
I don't know if it's specifically for Justin. I think she's realizing that she needs to work on this. And I don't think it's about Garrett. I think it's personal, like, growth, personal, relevance to her.
The lady boner growing.
But she is absolutely using him, and not for her liking him. It's sheerly for her own, like, to get over her own hurdle, which I thought was kind of shitty. That being said, their first kiss at the party is 34% in. I mean, it's not that far ahead, but it's another 50 or it's another 35% before they even get, naked in front of each other. I mean, that we have a little tease at 35% of kissing. He goads her into a kiss, being like, "Oh, you're probably not good at it," and whatever else. And then she kisses him and she kisses Dean right after that, which I thought was a little. She's like trying to prove to him that she can be cool, and she's not cool, and she kisses him anyway. And it's like, and then she doesn't feel the same pull with Dean that she felt with Garrett. And I'm like, that's a little weird. And
a little bit more collegey though. Like and to your point earlier of like of Garrett presenting very like mature beyond his years a little bit, that for Hannah would definitely be like a little bit of a dick move, right? Like not really thinking it through. I mean, she explained that she was like, well, I didn't want Garrett to think that I just wanted to kiss him, so she kissed Dean so that like Garrett didn't get suspicious of her liking him, but that like her logic was not quite there.
But she didn't even really like Garrett at this point. She's still doing all of this to make eyes at Justin. She liked him. She liked him as a friend for sure. They were friends. They were definitely friends at that point. But she's still making eyes at Justin at this party. They haven't even gone to the first party yet. I mean, they are like, she's full on having a full on conversation with Justin at the party, still getting a lady boner for him. And this is where Garrett brings her to the party, and Kendall confronts him like, "You're dating her? Like, I thought you weren't dating at all." And he's like, "Listen." And Hannah actually comes in for the save and like pulls him away as like a good bro. And comes in. I said, comes in for the save, like hockey. Get it? But it was, Garrett gets pissy at her for Justin hitting on his date right in front of him. He's like, what kind of good guy hits on another guy's date who obviously came with him to a party? Like, that's not the sign of a good guy. And Justin. Garrett doesn't particularly like him, thinks that he's putting on a facade, and we never do get clarity on whether or not that's the case. He does end up asking Hannah out. She blows off her date with him because at that point she's already boning Garrett, and they kind of become friends at the end. But like other than that,
yeah.
there's no
like
great resolution to that story.
He was just a plot in my mind. It was like a plot device to move the story forward. Of like, she's like, oh, this is who I've had a crush on for so long, and he finally asked me out, so it worked. You know, this tutoring and this whole thing of like, oh, Hannah's cool now because she's dating Garrett, and it worked, and so now Justin's interested. But then as she's gearing up for the date with Justin, she starts to realize, oh, you know what? I think I really do like it. So I just feel like Justin was kind of there to move the plot along. Like he showed up at parties and created some drama. He just felt like not convenient. I mean, it was a story, but yeah. So that's what his purpose was. I don't really feel like we got to know him. I don't know if he's in any of the other books.
I don't know either. Yeah. Well, and so now Garrett and Hannah are hanging out a little more. Her feelings are confused. As we go, you know, her and Garrett are hanging out and studying a lot, but they're also, you know, much more friendly, than tutor relationship. And he invites her to a birthday party at a bar where she does not like drinking in public because she's afraid of getting dosed again and whatever else. She's and he's like, I'll play protector for you tonight. I'm staying sober. I will watch over to you. And, you know, she ends up getting wasted at this bar for Devin's or birthday party or Dean's birthday party or whatever. And, Devin's the ex who she runs into at this bar who she could never, you know, hit the big O with. And she, like, goes and has, like, a crying jag in the corner. And then she just blurts out to Garrett that the new girlfriend can probably give him plenty of orgasms and, you know, whatever. And he's like super confused. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
That's how it comes to a
literally
head.
Well, and she's hammered. He takes her home, and that's leads to 48% sheer broad nipple ogle to drunk mounting. She drunkenly mounts Garrett during the middle of the night, and he's like, nope, you know, this has got to stop. You know, you're going to bed, and like pushes her off, and they go straight to snuggling. And then the next morning, Hannah wakes up and was like, I wasn't that drunk. I still want you, and you know, I wanted to have sex, and you said no. And he's like, I'm like, she wants to have, and she's like, I want to have a test run with him. She's saying this in her head, not to him. She does kind of say that to him, but not really. I'm like, there's pretty yucky reasoning, and Garrett has made his limits known. But, I mean, about not wanting a girlfriend or whatever else. But he does have feelings. I'm like, this is a pretty, like, unfeeling... You know, I just want to use you as a test run to see if I can get compatible.
I don't know. The world, like, being a woman reading this book, in the current context of the world, I am, like, a huge man-hater right now. I mean, like, the world sucks.
Oh,
like,
shocking, Helen.
I know. It's not anything new, but, like, you know, just recent news stories, 62 million visits to a rape website. Like, there are just so... I think what's funny for me is hearing you defend Garrett of, like, oh, I don't want his feelings to get hurt. Like, she wants to sit on his dick. And it's just... I think I hear it, and I respect it. That's, like... You know, you're being conscious of his feelings. I'm like, this, like, it just could not, like, her rape story from high school and the, you know, assaulting guy not getting any repercussions. In fact, she's run out of town. Like, her story just rings so fucking true that it is hard for me then to, like, feel bad for Garrett that she wants to, like, have sex with him. I mean, I get that it's, like, maybe not for, like, all the right reasons.
So punish his broken little heart for what this other guy did. That's a zero-sum, you know, game, Helen.
I don't know. If that's what I said, if that's what you took from that, that's not what I mean at all. I think it's funny that, like, maybe not funny, but, like, your instinct is to, like, look out for Garrett and his feelings and all of this, which is good.
Somebody has to, Helen.
I know. That's what I'm saying is, like, it's just funny that, like, that stood out to you, and it didn't even, I mean, it occurred to me that, like, maybe it's not for the best reasoning that she wants to, like, you know, reverse cowgirl on his dick. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, for all of this, like, sleeping around that he does, you know, like, he's got, you know, I'm not worried about his feelings in maybe the way that you are. I'm sort of more, and again, I'm like a therapist and a social worker, so I'm like,
worried about her feelings too.
Well,
But
exactly.
that,
So I'm
but
like,
that's the
Hannah, are
thing.
you making the right decisions for your journey of healing? Like, is this like, of course, healing is not linear. So like, she's going to have all these ups and downs, but like, is this the best choice? It ends up being good at the end of the day. But
Well, because he
I
took so
think
much care with her. If she would have just gone
exactly.
right out there and done what she wanted to, it would not have gone very well.
Yeah.
Her just wanting to hop on pop, drunkenly in the middle of the night, would
Yeah.
not have worked out the same way. 53% broken vagina trust exercises. Garrett eases into her, giving it to her, polite fingering, lots of wetness. She's, shocked at his wang. Are you like, are you taking
yeah.
growth hormone?
That
Huge
was really.
man
I think
monster.
I text. Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I was like. Oh my god, huge man monster.
Lady
and then
canal.
There was that won't fit in my lady canal.
Yeah, and she's
was really
she's getting close, but then it's getting disappearing. And she's frustrated, and Garrett just like suggests mutual masturbation to like establish trust.
Yeah.
And it's it was kind of sweet and a little hot. The whole scene in and of itself. But it was.
I was grossed out by it, but I respected their vulnerability.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's my point.
Well, and Allie, Hannah's roommate and best friend, is like rehashing the night, and she's like, the BFF code says that you have to tell me everything. She's like, I told you how big Sean's dick is, and that one time we had butt sex, and Hannah's like, yeah, it was too much.
For it.
I did not ask for it. It was too much information,
Yeah,
and
that was funny.
and so that was pretty funny. And then Garrett meeting Cass, the shitty duet,
yeah.
partner for the first time, where he keeps calling him Chaz the whole time, and
On
just
purpose.
pissing
I
him
love
off.
that.
I love that scene. It was pretty great, and that was awesome. And then 58% was Slow Down Horn Dog. Tough cookies. He says tough cookies, like a grandma swearing at the table, and I was like, our grandma talking about exactly how long are balls when we were watching the movie. How long are balls? And I was like, yeah,
Have we told that story on here before?
Maybe in season 1 we've told it, but Hannah was talking about how her grandma, swears like a sailor and dropped a motherfucker at the table one time, and the dad almost choked on the turkey or whatever else. That's that, and it's a little just off the cuff kind of like quippy comment, and that one made me laugh very hard. But she's needy and wanting, and lots of boob touching, clit talk.
Hannah, not the grandma. Can we?
No, the grandma moans so loud. Garrett tells her to quiet down because the guys are home.
Again, Hannah, not the grandma.
No, he's giving the grandma hip dysplasia right now. She calls him a sex god, and this one was more sensual than dirty, but it was still pretty hot. And as a thank you, she cooked some 3 cheese lasagna. We heard grandma's
nice.
recipe, and I like that scene of all the guys being very thankful for the meal and everything else. That was a kind of sweet scene. And then 65%, she just tells him how the trial ruined her family and everything else. 65% depressed. A spoonful of poon makes the medicine go down.
Okay.
she blows him to make him forget his childhood abuse, and then they continue to bone upstairs mid-nakedness. He decides it's a great time to tell her he didn't even know what her name was at the beginning of the book. Like, I thought your name started with an M. And he's like, you thought my name was Manna? Like, and then she's just so full. And then he's like, tell me about your grandma so that he doesn't come. Like, so the kid comes up again, and no, this is the first. I think this is the first time they're actually inside of each other. No condo talk. He just wraps it up like a good boy,
So he can take it home. He's a good boy.
Yeah. So again, throw it over his shoulder like a continental soldier. And this is when she starts like going to the hockey games and everything else too, which she finds out that she loves hockey and whatever. And interspersed in here, there's a lot of dealing with his dad. the dad demands that he comes to Thanksgiving. Like all of this up until this point has happened over the course of like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah. And now it starts jumping.
Now it starts picking up quick.
Time check, Nedley. We have like 10 minutes left to tell the entire dramatic portion of this book.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you do that. Good luck.
They go to Thanksgiving. They realize the dad is beating up the new girlfriend. Garrett and Hannah leave and storm out. The dad then confronts Hannah after a bad hockey game and says, "Listen, you're distracting my son. He got suspended because of you. You are going to break up with him, or I'm going to cut him off completely, and he's going to lose his scholarship, going to lose his car, he's going to lose his housing. Everything's going to go away." And she goes, without consulting anyone or talking to anyone about it, just ghosts him and stops hanging out. And he
breaks up with him.
Breaks up with him, and they get back together. She sings her thing and wins the scholarship. She finds out about the trust fund, which he now has access to, and his whole school is paid for now. Yeah. And everyone's avoiding her on campus because Garrett told them to stay away from him. Like every dude on campus, like, no, she's not up for grabs.
There was a name for it though. She called it something like, you put out an alert. There was like a no dating alert, but it had a funny name.
Yeah, I don't know if I wrote that one down. But so on the way back from the Thanksgiving, 78% front seat finger play turns into back seat bongo. Yeah. They profess their love for each other on the side of the road. I'm like, is this really the place for it? And then they fuck in the back seat. It was pretty quick, but yeah, a little hot. And then 79%.
He was worried about getting caught.
Yeah, he was worried about getting caught by the cops or whatever. That leads right into 79% core clinching click clap. It's just right into another sex scene at home. We're slapping at the camera, everybody.
Click clap.
Click clap. And then they run into the reason why Garrett gets suspended is they run into one of her one of the guys that lied about her at the trial, and Garrett beats the crap out of him in the hallway, which I love. I like that.
You do love that. A little bit of toxic masculinity.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's needed every once in a while. And we find out that finally Sean, Lily's boyfriend, or Allie's boyfriend, tells Hannah why everyone's avoiding her, like she has an STD.
I loved that phone call because Hannah calls him and she's like, "Sean, I need a boy to hang out with me," because in her breakup she said she wanted to see other people and she was just saying anything to like get Garrett to leave her alone. And so he's like, "Oh, you want to date other people? Okay, prove it." And so then she's like trying to go out with other people and everyone's saying no. And she finally calls her friend's boyfriend, Sean, and he's like, "Is this a prank? Is Allie in the background? If she is Allie, I love you. Please don't like be weirded out by this." And she's like, "Allie's not here. I just want to hang out with you." And he's like, "Listen."
When she actually caught up with Justin at one point too, who she was all wet for throughout the first 50% of this book, and realizes that even talking to him, the feelings aren't there anymore. And she was like, if I do go on a date just to prove to Garrett that I am dating, it can't be with this dude. This is a step too far.
That would be disrespectful.
And I was like, at least she has that kind of self-awareness where she's not willing to make her point so hard that she's willing to like hurt him even more than she already has. And after she finds out that Garrett put this thing down, she's pissed and she goes to confront him, which was hysterical. And it's just after practice, and she just bursts into the locker room and she's just penises dicks everywhere. Her list of peni is very funny. She's like, big dicks, small dicks, dick looking dicks. It's a convention of penises. Penis shaped penises, and their whole conversation, and she storms into the bathroom, or into the shower room to like find him, and they have a conversation, and then he just like kisses her, and everything's like fine again, and then she they're yelling at him and talking about it later, and he's like, "Why didn't you just tell me? He's
Yeah.
like, I would have told you that I have this account and my trust fund is fine. You broke up with me for no reason. She was like, I really did. So 94% makeup boob honk. There's a lot of nipple play and boning. Pretty short scene there towards the end. And Hannah has been catching Logan's looks for most of the book, with Logan looking at her longingly. And it doesn't really come up in this book at all. His story. He is book 2. Logan is book 2 of this series, and it turns out that Garrett wins the Frozen Four and wins the championship that year. Everything's coming up aces for these assholes, and Garrett finally tells all the other players about the dad's abuse, because everybody loves his dad because he was such a great player, and it kind of just wraps up with they're good. They're going to go into their senior year. Everything's paid for. They all have their own money. They're boning like champions. And everything's fine and dandy,
They sealed the deal.
What kind of tropes do you think was going on in this one? I mean, friends to lovers even? I mean,
Yeah.
enemies to lovers almost?
That because they were never really enemies. But she was annoyed by him. So I feel like it was, if anything, enemies to immediate friends to lovers. There was
Found family almost, because
Yeah.
they have all their college friends and everything else.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
I mean, college, like just being,
Yeah.
and at a university is a whole kind of trope. I don't know. What else? What did you find?
Normie popular kind of thing, where he's
Oh, yeah.
super. I mean, hockey obviously too. Hockey did not play a huge. I mean, it
did.
provided a pretty big backdrop, but not the game
Yeah.
itself. Like there wasn't too much
No.
actual gameplay
Is
or
there
actual hockey
gameplay
play.
in any of the hockey smut books that we've read?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't.
Yes, I mean some. I mean there's a. I mean in what's it called? There was the one that you love
Pittsburgh
with
one?
the semen swapping.
Oh, heated rivalry. Oh,
No,
pucking around.
pucking around. There's a fair amount of hockey in that.
I guess.
But there was there's the hockey in this. There's college romance. The tutoring, fake dating thing is another one too, where
That's
we've
big one.
read multiple books in that genre.
Yeah, I
in
did
that
have
vein.
a moment where I was like, I've definitely read this before, and I texted you. I was like, if this moment happens, then I've read this before, and it didn't happen. So it was a different book. But
Yeah,
it
well,
did-
and
was
and
similar
as
to
soon as
Smutter.
they brought it was very similar to Tutoring the Player, but
Yeah.
the Tutoring the Player did not have the heaviness that this one did. I mean, there was a lot. It had
backstory.
nothing about the child abuse or the rape or anything else. I mean, and dealing with those heavy topics. There's overcoming trauma. There's consent and respect. There's a lot of different themes that she really dives into, and I think she does a pretty good job at highlighting some of this stuff.
Elle
It
Kennedy
was
is a phenomenal writer. I mean, I feel like she does this in a way where there was some parts where I was like, "Ooh, okay, that could be a little trauma porny," but then the way that she handles it, I do feel like she does it respectfully. So I liked this. I wouldn't call this trauma porn, but for the trauma, liked it so much better than like The Summer We Fell or like some of the other books we've read where it's like, or like 50 Shades where it's like,
Right.
okay.
Do you have a favorite scene or most memorable moment?
Well, that's a huge man dong. What did she call it?
Man monster. Man monster.
That's a giant man monster. And then the lady canal. I feel like I texted you immediately. Those made me laugh.
Yeah, I like her bursting into the locker room. I thought was pretty funny. I mean, penises everywhere. Just a convention of penises. That was good. I did like their kind of verbal sparring. I thought was fun.
Yeah.
I thought they had a good banter back and forth. I like the kind of hockey, house, and this house that they live in stays throughout all the books. Like they keep that throughout all the series, so it's always like the hub of the on campus activity, and there's a lot of stuff revolves around them keeping this and renting this house. Because all of these two of the 4 guys that live in that house go on to play in the pros, and they cycles through the rest of the hockey team and whatever else. And I think there's some great stories in this world, including the 2 other series. Where do you think this book falls in the Smutometer?
Medium plus.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think the scenes of which there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there were 7 pretty intricate scenes, and I think in the vein of Elle Kennedy, Bad Girl Reputation had more, and they were a little bit longer and a little spicier. But it's also one of her newer books. This is one of her earlier ones, from 2015. And I mean, she's written a shitload of books, but this is 11 years ago, and I would say medium plus in there. The scenes that they did have were spicy.
Yes, I want to qualify this also with. So I did read this back to back with Lights Out by who do I have to? So, and I don't know if you and I have talked about this yet. Did you read? You read Lights Out this week too, right?
Yeah.
This is by Nevessa Allen.
Nevessa Allen, yeah.
Nevessa Allen. So this is, I think, the first book in my brain, Lights Out, that could compare to Pucking Around in the spicy, holy shit. And I think it has to do, I have always said Pucking Around, I feel like, because there's 4 main characters and there's 4 ways and so much semen swapping and just the intensity of
that happened once in the book. I mean, you bring it up constantly.
I do. Well, it's just for me, it's just now an indicator of how sort of wild some of their sex did get, even the closet and the. But
you think Lights Out was spicier than Butcher and Blackbird?
So
I feel like those two are on the same level.
I was going to say, I feel like Lights Out often gets compared to Butcher and Blackbird because it's kind of like a negative, not a negative, but a dark, a very dark undercurrent of not even, there's menace, but whatever. So I feel like those two are compared. I feel like right off the bat in Butcher and Blackbird, you're rooting for these characters. In this book, it took me a while to root for them. I think I texted you at the beginning of this book, and I was like, I feel like being somebody who was, has moved away a little bit from my true crime obsession, but has had a genuine true crime obsession in the past. I was like, this book, Lights Out, was like if the Golden State Killer was actually a nice guy. He just broke in at knife point and was holding us hostage, but nice.
But he meant well. He meant
what
well.
A swell dog. I was just that was all I could envision was okay, there's a break-in and he's masked and he's got a knife and a gun. And I was just my God, it sounds so much like a lot of the Golden State Killer stuff. And then I was but then it's she's into it.
Yeah. She digs it.
I think that it was just so
say
different.
A couple more times. You're really hitting that button hard.
All right, listen. Your description earlier in this was rollerblading over a stick, all right? It was brutal. So this is slightly better than that. Anyway.
Not denying that.
Maybe we'll cover this next season or something. I don't know. It's a book that I can't stop thinking about.
It left its stank on you.
It left its stank on me, just like Pucking Around. And maybe that's why I keep comparing the two, even though topic-wise, yes, it's probably closer to Butcher and Blackbird, but I don't know. It's the stank of it is much more Pucking Around, in my opinion. Anyway, thanks for asking.
I would say
you
that
didn't
was
ask. I just
that
told
was probably
you.
Spicy too. I would say that was medium plus spicy arena.
Oh my God, there's butt stuff, BDSM, like, this like stalker kink. I think that's the kinks that are like so a little bit outside of the norm. That's what I feel like levels it up into spicy plus in my world. And so, yeah. So I read Lights Out.
That's a bold statement.
What?
That's spicy plus.
For Lights Out.
For Lights Out. Yeah. I mean,
think so?
no. I'd say spicy. It's medium plus or spicy. Almost. I think the subject material wigged you out so much that you're upping the rating.
There was butt plugs and
Helen. There was cock warming in Butcher and Blackbird, and we still only gave that medium plus. I mean, my God.
I don't know, the break-ins and the stalking. But
that has nothing to do with the spice level.
It's a kink. It's like a sexual kink. Like that turned her on.
It terrified her though too.
That was the point of it.
All right,
because
we're not even reviewing that book this week, Helen.
But now I want to.
Do you know what we were reading next week?
Yes, I do. Get fucked, Ned. I do know what we're reading because I'm already reading it. We are reading Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez.
Yes, we are. Abby. It's another good one. I know. We enjoy all of her series, and this is book one of her. This is book one of her series,
Part of
right?
Your Worlds. The series is called, I think, Part of
Trilogy,
Your World. This book is Part of Your World, but this is what the series is then called. And it's like I remember everything like I read it yesterday.
Yeah, so it's been a while. I haven't started it yet, but I'm gonna get on that here soon.
I guess I'm ahead of the curve.
Yeah, Helen. If you're liking our bullshit, generally laughing at our own jokes, hit that like, rate, review, and subscribe button. Generally, us golden shower us with praise, please and thank you. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week, Smutters.
Stay smutty.
Stay smutty. Circus music, really? And
I don't know. What's hockey music? There is none.
Gary Glitter. Oh, wait, he's a child molester. And out.